So, we're going to dive into one of the most gut wrenching questions an investor can ever face. But forget the abstract charts and the talking heads. We're going to frame this whole thing through a high stakes kitchen table debate that could literally make or break a family's entire future. Okay, just imagine this for a second. You check your portfolio, and your single biggest investment has been chopped in half. Just gone. In only 4 months, all those amazing gains you were celebrating have turned into a catastrophic loss. So what do, right? Do you sell and just stop the bleeding? Do you hold on, grit your teeth, and hope for a recovery? Or do you do the craziest thing of all and buy more? This single question is right at the heart of our story today. And it's a question that splits investors and, in this case, a marriage right down the middle. So let's set the scene. I want you to meet Leo. He's our crypto optimist, and his wife Sarah, who's a bit more of a pragmatist. The date is February 6th, 2026, and they're staring at a sea of red on their laptop. A huge crypto crash is happening in real time, and, well, their life savings are on the line. And to really understand their panic, you have to see just how good things were just a few months ago. Back in October of 2025, Bitcoin hit this unbelievable all-time high of $126,000. For Leo and Sarah, this was life-changing money. At least it was on paper. But today, the price flickering on their screen is struggling just to stay above 65 grand. Almost half of their investment has just vanished. The dream has very, very quickly turned into a financial nightmare. And this is where the debate really ignites. You see, while Leo sees a temporary dip, a test of will, Sarah sees an absolute disaster unfolding. And her words, they just capture the fear and the practicality of her position perfectly. She says, this isn't resilience, that is a crash. So to really get a handle on their conflict, we're going to break their argument down into 4 distinct rounds. Think of me as your moderator, just laying out the key points from both the bull, that's Leo who wants to hold, and the bear, Sarah, who desperately wants to sell. Round 1, it's all about the big players, institutional money. Leo, our bull, is clinging to reports from giants like JP Morgan. They're still talking about a long-term price target of over $250,000. He thinks this is all just a simple rebalancing. But Sarah, the bear, she's looking at the cold, hard cash flow right now. She's pointing to the data. The big money that was supposed to make Bitcoin stable, it's running for the hills. And Sarah's point is backed by some pretty scary data. We are talking $2 billion with a B pulled from those new US Bitcoin ETFs in just 1 month. Now that's not a trickle, that's a flood heading for the exits. And it totally undermines the whole idea that Wall Street's arrival was going to prevent these kinds of crashes. Okay, round 2, they get into the overall health of the market. And again, they are looking at the same world through 2 completely different lenses. Leo sees this as a healthy reset, a way to flush out all the risky gamblers. He even points to the fear and greed index, which is at extreme fear. And historically, that's been a great time to buy. Sarah just sees a death spiral. She's looking at the $2 trillion that has been wiped off the total market value. And the scale of the panic here is just staggering. On one single brutal day, $2.6 billion in long positions, so that's all the traders betting the price would go up, were forcibly sold and completely wiped out. This is the kind of chain reaction that has Sarah absolutely terrified. For Sarah, this isn't about some complex market theory. It's about the human cost. These are not just numbers on a screen. It's their savings, it's their retirement, it's their entire future. And it's just evaporating. So now for round 3, we get into the technicals, the art of reading the charts. And this part is fascinating because Leo and Sarah can look at the exact same data and see completely opposite futures. Leo sees an indicator called the RSI, showing that Bitcoin is the most oversold it has been in years, a classic sign that a huge bounce is coming. But Sarah, she sees the dreaded death cross on another indicator, which to her signals that the sellers are firmly in control. So what exactly is this death cross that sounds so ominous? Well, to put it simply, it's just when a short-term price average falls below a long-term one. For the chart watchers out there, it's a classic signal that a downtrend has some serious momentum, and yeah, it could get much worse. Leo's counterargument, though, it all hinges on his key indicator, the RSI, or the Relative Strength Index. It basically measures how fast the price has been moving, and a really low reading, like the one he's seeing, suggests that the selling pressure is just exhausted. The asset is oversold, and a sharp bounce back could be right around the corner. So you've got 2 charts telling 2 totally different stories. And this brings us to round 4, the big picture. And this is really about their core beliefs as investors. Leo has what the crypto world calls diamond hands. He sees Bitcoin as a long-term strategic asset. He argues you haven't actually lost a single dime until you click that sell button. Sarah, on the other hand, is all about managing risk. For her, the whole digital gold story has completely failed. Bitcoin didn't protect them. It crashed right alongside risky tech stocks. True foresight, she argues, is selling now before things get even worse. And, the numbers seem to be backing Sarah up, at least for now. Since the start of the year, Bitcoin is down over 25%. And at the same time, money is pouring into traditional safe havens like gold, which is up over 10%. It's a classic flight to safety, and right now, Bitcoin is on the wrong side of it. So, after all the arguments, all the conflicting data, and all of that raw emotion, we finally arrive at the final standoff. And their very personal problem, well, it's a universal one that every single person who has ever invested money has to face at some point. It all just boils down to this. 2 simple words with profound, life-altering consequences. Do you trust the long-term vision and just hold on through the pain? Or do you cut your losses and sell to save what's left of your money? Sarah makes her final emotional plea. For her, the evidence is overwhelming. The risk of waiting any longer is just too great. This isn't about winning an argument anymore. It's about financial survival. And Leo's response is just as firm, and it's rooted in this deep, unwavering conviction. He truly believes this is the moment of maximum pain, which means it's also the moment of maximum opportunity. He refuses to sell into a panic. And with that, their debate ends. But the question just hangs in the air. Who is right? And maybe more importantly, what would you do? That is the impossible choice every investor ultimately has to make for themselves.